It's the Black Real Estate Dialogue. Tune in. Tune in. Tune in. Tune in.
I feel that this first deal was a turning point for you. And the reason I say that is because it could have went in two different directions. You could have seen that initial adversity as just a reason to quit. And I wouldn't blame you. Okay. If you decided maybe I'll do some other business, I wouldn't blame you. However, um, you spoke to somebody who you end up hiring as a coach and you end up becoming the GC for the project to see it through. And I'm sure this experience, as you mentioned, you use some of this capital to scale. Um, you know, just imagine where life would have went if you decided, you know what, this is not for me.
Yeah, I know. And it's very interesting because we're all at some point, whether it's real estate, whether you run an e-commerce business, whether you're running a fitness business, whatever business, right? Entrepreneurship within itself is tough, and adversity will come, right? If even if you don't have a business, adversity will come, right? It's not about if, it's about when. And proper preparation prevents poor performance. And if you know that everything has a season, then you should always be prepping for that season because you don't know when it's going to come. Right. And so I'm glad that I went through that experience because now I can go into any project and right away I can tell exactly how much this project is going to cost. Right. Because I've done it over and over and over again. Yeah, I had to learn the hard way, but that hard way gave me a very, very valuable asset and skill, right, that I can add to my portfolio and I can keep using over and over again. So yeah, like a lot of folks, they lose $20,000, $10,000 on a deal and they quit. Right now, I got 31 units that's cash flowing over $10,000 a month, right? And that's money that I'm making in my sleep. I don't have to actively work for that money, right? And I got my own construction project, so construction company. So I'm keeping all my renovation costs in house, right? Which is also bringing down my costs.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I'm very excited that you'll be talking more about this, talking more about the construction and rehab aspect with the Bread Real Estate Investing community and diving a little deeper into that. 'Cause to your point, and based on what we've heard so far, it's extremely important for people to understand that side of it if they want to get into real estate. Or else, you might get in multiple bad deals if you don't understand that side. So for those who are interested in joining the community, link is in the show notes or blackrealestatedialogue.com. Great. So you said you used some of that capital to scale. So after those lessons, you kind of sharpened yourself. How did things grow from there?
Yeah, so I was inside of a private real estate community. For those in Chicago, I'm very well known in Chicago, especially in the real estate space. Um, I led a private real estate community. I won't say their name, and we taught classes every Wednesday, right? And so I'm in front of folks every Wednesday, students, and these students are twice my age, right? These are moms, these are dads, these are grandmothers, these are grandfathers that have just been fed up with the way that life has kind of panned out for them financially, and they're just ready to make the necessary steps to get to the next level, right? So I taught a real estate class every Wednesday. It was an intro to real estate where we talked about how to purchase properties creatively using land contracts, using lease with the option to purchase, all these different types of creative acquisition strategies, and also ways to, acquire funding using home equity lines of credit, life insurance, 401ks, all these different things. And so what happened was my original idea getting into the real estate space was I was just going to do fix and flips. It was never the rentals. The rentals was going to come at some point, but not right away. But it's interesting because life kind of just switched for me and it ended up being the rentals. But my original thought process was, okay, cool. If I'm going to be in the fix and flip space, then one of the number one expenses in the fix and flip space is time, right? It's time. So I need to figure out how can I reduce my time? Well, the best way and the quickest way to reduce my time on the back end after the project has been rehabbed and finished is to have a qualified buyer already lined up. So that means light bulb went off, Gene, you need to create a pipeline of qualified buyers. Well, how do I create a pipeline of qualified buyers? Well, what do lenders need in order for somebody to be a qualified buyer? They need income and they need good credit. So a lot of my students that was coming into these weekly meetings, they had income, but unfortunately they didn't have the good credit. So that led me to start a credit repair business. So I had a credit repair business, which allowed for me to be able to repair people's credit. So once you repair somebody's credit, you build massive rapport, like massive rapport, because now you've put that person in position to buy a house. Now you put that person in position to get lines of credit. Now you put this person in a position to get that car that they always been wanting to get, but they couldn't get because of mistakes and stuff they did in their early 30s, early 20s, right? That person loves you, right? So I created a pipeline of buyers by repairing their credit. And so it's like, all right, cool. Well, now I got people to sell to. But I end up doing a pivot. And so now I'm not doing the rehab space anymore, the fix and flip space anymore, because I got burnt on this deal, right? And so now it's like, all right, well, what do I want to do now? Do I want to do fix and flips, or do I want to just do rehabs and capture some rentals? Well, what's the goal in the next year or two? Well, the goal in the next year or two is to free myself from my W-2 job so that I can be a full-time entrepreneur and go more into the teaching space. Okay, well, if I know that, then my goal right now is cash flow. So what I ended up doing was I ended up partnering with my students, right? And these were students that I've built massive rapport with. I've already rebuilt their credit, right? They just don't know how to get started, but they hungry, right? They want to get to the next level. They just need somebody to be able to connect the dots for them and show them the way, right? And then on simultaneously, I was also running a wholesale business as well that allowed me to generate a ton of capital. But now in the state of Illinois, you can't do more than 2 wholesale deals within a 12-month interval, or that's considered illegal, and you could be facing penalties and up to jail time. So I kind of laid low on the wholesale business. So I stopped the wholesaling, but anyways, so I ended up partnering with these students, and then we ended up buying units. They didn't have the capital. I had the capital. They had the credit. So we just kept doing 3.5% over and over and over again, which allowed me to scale. Now, the way I set it up was, since I was the one bringing the capital to the table, right? I didn't allow, right? When you control the deal, you control the narrative of the deal, right? I didn't allow any of my students or any of my partners that I was partnering with to receive any of the net cash flow from these assets that we were acquiring until I got my original down payment money back. Right. So if I put $10,000 on a deal, right, before we start splitting profits on anything, I had to get my $10,000 back. Right. And then we kind of split things up from there. So that's how I scale, and that's how I got up.
Got it. So is it basically the way it's set up? You put in whatever it is you put in, you're paid back, and then it's split 50-50 or however each deal is arranged, and profits are kind of just split that way.
Yep.
Got it. That's amazing. And I think something that's interesting is a lot of people don't like partnering with others. But you mentioned that it allows you to scale. So could you talk more about the benefits of partnering with people to grow your portfolio?
Yeah, I mean, here's what I always tell folks, right? And this is saying, if you want to go far, go together. If you want to go fast, go alone. You know, I'm a big, strong advocate of partnering with people. However, you want to make sure that you partner with the right people. So I'm not telling you to go out there and just partner with anybody that got the perfect credit score. No, you want to make sure that you vet this person out very, very thoroughly. And you know their personality. You know that you can trust them in situations where you can't necessarily be available. And you can do that through testing, right? You can test people and see if that's somebody that you can rely on, right? And you also make sure that you're protected in the contract, right? How my contracts are set up, if you do X, Y, and Z, you owe me money. If you do X, Y, and Z, you owe me money, right? So everything is strategically designed and set up in a way to where I can't lose. As long as we're both operating from a place of integrity with the highest level of integrity, then we should have no problems. So in terms of partnerships, it's the quickest and easiest way to scale. And I tell people all the time, to win in real estate, you either need the money, you need the knowledge, or you need the relationships. to contacts. Real estate is not a contract sport. A lot of folks get that confused. It's not a contract sport at all. It's a contact sport. Contacts meaning relationships, right? You don't need all three. You just need one of the three. If you can get one of the three, you should have no problems. And the reality of entrepreneurs is, especially in real estate, we're just in the business of solving problems. That's it. If you can solve problems, then you will never run out of deals, right? Because there's constantly, even right now with the pandemic, like there's so many landlords on a forbearance right now because they got tenants that's just not paying, right? And so what's going to happen? The government is either going to bail everybody out, which they're not, or these landlords are going to go under. So you're either somebody right now that's stacking dough, you're preparing, you're practicing for that game because that big game is coming. It's only just a matter of time. So partnerships is everything.
Definitely. And when did you start? What year did you start investing?
I bought my first property December 27th of 2018.
Got it. So about 2.5 years, and you're up to, you said what, 31 units?
I got 31. Yeah.
Wow, that's pretty fast growth. And in Chicago too, which is a major city. We've had multiple guests from Chicago, but can you talk more about the Chicago real estate market over the years, and I guess currently from your perspective?
Yeah, Chicago is hot, man. Depending on what market you in, so you could buy. I like Woodline personally. Woodline is on the south side of Chicago, is bridging the face of Hyde Park, and it's catching a lot of the gentrification from Hyde Park. However, with investors buying up Woodline crazy, obviously, the market value has increased tremendously. So it's starting to become very, very hard for the average person to buy because they're not competing with traditional homeowners. They're competing with investors, and these investors are coming with $200,000, $250,000 cash, right? So a homeowner is going to take the person that's buying in cash, rather sooner than the person that's buying a loan, because that loan is not guaranteed. That person might go out there and do something crazy and go buy a car, increase their debt to income ratio, and now the lender is like, yo, we can't give you the loan no more, right? Or for whatever reason. But somebody that's buying in cash, they can close quicker, right? And then they got the cash. So Woodline is a market that is on fire. You can still catch some deals, and it's a fast appreciating market. So I own 2 properties in Woodline. South Shore is another good area as well. The Barack Obama Library is getting ready to get built in South Shore, which is South Shore, Woodline. They're all like gracing each other. So you got Hyde Park, you got South Shore, then you got Woodline. It's all interconnected. So in terms of the Chicago market as a whole, very, very hot. You also got markets such as Inglewood that's building up, which is a great place for anybody to start. It's the hood, right? But there are diamonds in the rough.
Hi everyone, Sam here from the Black Real Estate Dialogue. Make sure to hit that notification bell and that subscribe button, and to visit us at blackrealestatedialogue.com.